internet connectivity in Nigeria and how it impacts players in the space. Broadband internet penetration as at May 2023, 48.28%, according to the NCC, the Nigerian Communications Commission. How is that going to impact players in the space whose bread and butter it is to provide internet connectivity? One of those players, very innovative, is Inq Inc. Of course, they're in that space, and we are very happy to be joined by their brand new CEO, Dibesto, Group CEO of Inq Inc. You're very welcome, sir. Good afternoon to you. Thanks for joining us. Congratulations on the appointment as CEO. So tell us, you're going to be driving a whole lot of things as far as innovation is concerned. How are you going to, navigate the waters and get, keep the company down its successful path?
Thank you very much for having me, and a good evening to all of your listeners. So I'm quite excited to be appointed as CEO for Inq. One of the big reasons I've taken this role is because of its impact. The founders of Inq are themselves an impact investor, and I, all throughout my life, have sought to find roles where I can make real impact in the continent. And I feel in digital transformation, we've got an opportunity as a continent to enter a real conversation in the AI space, a real conversation into the fourth industrial revolution. So we're quite excited to be starting this journey with Inq. I began on the 1st of July. So I'm fresh out of the box.
Exactly, just 3 weeks in. Great stuff, great stuff. So, as far as Africa's, digital efficiency, right? Talk to us about, I guess, edge computing and how that's, getting companies to where they need to be.
Fantastic. So, we all love to have massive hyperscaler data centers in every single country in the continent. In all our 54 countries, we wish we could have a hyperscaler data center. The reason for that is because all of us in our countries, we now know that data sovereignty is extremely important. We want to keep all our data in our own countries, and we want to apply the local laws and regulations to that data so that we can control the movement and how it's used. The challenge is currently we've got majority of the hyperscalers stationed in South Africa. So countries outside of South Africa have to actually end up hosting their data in foreign data centers. Edge computing and edge cloud computing specifically brings the data centers closer to where information is processed. So our quest as Inq is to continue throughout the continent's different countries building edge computers so we can keep that data there, one, for data sovereignty, secondly, to reduce latency.
You've got quite a resume here. I want to talk to you about cloud because you had this thing at Deloitte, managing director at Dimension Data West Africa. You've run quite a bit, a couple decades here or more. Cloud, particularly, we've in Nigeria here so many buildings catching fire and manually stored data getting burnt up and destroyed. Can you talk to us about the importance of cloud and how that can improve safety of data and efficiency and so on?
Fantastic. So first of all, when we started, I think a few years back, I was actually here in Nigeria, and you talk about a fire. I had a client, one of the municipalities in Nigeria, who actually had a fire in the data center.
Oh, wow.
And immediately when they had a fire, that's when they actually moved to a cloud data center. When you start moving to the cloud, one of the things that you have benefit of is that you've got people who specializes in security, people who understand disaster recovery, who understand it and live it every single day. Because majority of our clients actually want to go on with their own business, be it banking, be it servicing the community if you're a government entity. But the job of a cloud provider is extremely dedicated to only securing your data and making sure that you can access it 24/7 and to reduce all the downtime. So I recommend, and we've been recommending to majority of our clients to move to the cloud. And secondly, when you start storing information in your own premises, it costs you so much more because you are alone in that data center. And when you are alone in a data center, you have to also keep a little bit of space for growth. The whole thing about cloud is that you can only consume the very need that you have at the moment. And as your demands grows, the cloud will open up for you. So the multi-tenancy of cloud allows for you to actually consume what you require. Secondly, it allows for you to have the best security, because majority of the cloud providers are practically in most of the countries in the world, and they see attacks all across the world, and they respond very quickly because they are used to running and seeing cyber security attacks. I think the other thing that actually cloud gives most of the companies is just pure agility. You know, the way that data is kept is easily accessible, and it can be malleable and changed as and when is required.
How do you see the growth of cloud? Since you've been in this space for quite a bit of time, this is going to be part of your portfolio with Inq and so on. Do you anticipate growth on the continent going forward?
Yes, certainly. The cloud is here to stay and is no longer a debate. There was a time when we had to start talking to clients about security of being on the cloud, because sometimes clients felt that they were more secure on-prem. But with the way the clients are being attacked in their own on-prem data centers, they realize that security is no longer an issue for cloud. It is a consideration, but they're still better in a cloud platform where the data is being hosted by a professional who understands how to handle that data. I also think that with a lot of startups coming up, this is not going to be the barrier to entry for them to go and build their own data center, to go and have massive servers in their own premises. It's expensive for startups. So for startups to start off light, infrastructure has to be off their balance sheet. That has to be handled by a player such as ourselves. So this is going to encourage companies to come into the economy quickly, and then we will continue to take on more and more. And WES is, and you know, in Nigeria, our data that we're creating in Nigeria is increasing at a fast rate. And that increase in data is going to push more and more companies to run out of space in their on-prem environment.
And what about the infrastructure here? I mean, there's still, we showed that data point of the broadband penetration only being at 48%. How are you working around that with where the infrastructure challenges?
Yeah, so I think one of the number one service that Inq provides is fiber to enterprises across Nigeria, but to be honest, across the continent. We are a pan-African company, and we've got fiber on the ground all across the continent. Our sister companies are companies such as Seacom, and then the Equinox cable that's just recently landed.
Oh, that's
here.
Okay.
Is, we are invested in it as
Great.
Convergence Partners, which is our parent. So it is our quest to attack the connectivity challenge from undersea cable to terrestrial fiber and satellite and microwave.
Now, with what you're doing, do you think, competition is actually my next question. How are you going to stay? Because, I mean, others are going to come into this space. How are you going to stay ahead?
Yeah, so the first thing that Inq has done, we have said in all the 10 countries where we operate across the continent, every single country has something special. And the reason the country has something special is due to its challenges. So we have center of excellences in every one of the countries. We've named Nigeria as a center of excellence for AI in the energy space. And you can see how that is possible for Nigeria, because energy is one of the biggest challenges we have and also a biggest opportunity in Nigeria. So we will be taking some of those excellent products and services from different countries, and we'll be exporting them across all our territories. Secondly, one of our biggest superpower as Inq is to create a very buzzing ecosystem of SMEs. So you will see us in the market that we will be creating hackathons, basically supporting a lot of the tech startups. And these tech startups are the ones who are going to be providing solutions to Inq, partnering with Inq, and some of them we end up actually buying them and consuming them as Inq. So that way we'll keep the innovation high. And the other last point in terms of keeping abreast is that we're telling every single young person in the continent that Inq is the place for them to come and work. We will train them. They will understand artificial intelligence, they will understand software development, and they can come and be entrepreneurs within Inq, because Inq, as big as it is across the continent, remains to have a startup culture.
Thank you for mentioning that. I cannot remember the name of the survey, but there was a survey that was put out where a number of CEOs said tech is the field to get into. Can you assess you've worked in this space for a while, and you've hired at Inq a whole number of these talents. How would you assess the talent in Africa for tech skills?
Yeah, so for us, first of all, if you're a young person listening to this, the number one thing is mathematics and sciences from school. So you don't necessarily even need a postgraduate degree. So once you've got the foundation of the mathematics and science, we can put you through our training program. We have been doing so. We've got now deep skills in terms of software development, AI, all across. We also have like a team in India that is producing a lot of e-learnings for not just the stuff coming into the company, because when you're in tech, it's continuous learning. I've been in tech now since 1996, and every single year I have to be continuing taking
learning
courses.
Something new.
Absolutely.
Yeah. AI, what are the potentials here for AI on the continent?
So first of all, there's massive potential in AI, but because we're talking to a bigger audience here, let's start by saying we know that there's ethical challenges with AI. Right? We do know the concern that people have in terms of AI removing traditional jobs. We want to first say that as Africans, we don't want to miss the boat or the race of AI. We want to be active participant and in the conversation of ethics. Let's start there. You cannot be in that conversation if you are on the sideline. That's the first thing. Secondly, the fear of jobs. We have to talk about this actively as the continent, that the jobs are not going away, they're being replaced. So in other words, what we have to do now is train our youth in a new set of skills that's going to replace the typical ones. My chairman talks a lot about when we were growing up in the telecommunication space, we used to have the exchange where you call and someone actually routes your call. Right. And that was a whole number of people who were employed just to pass your call from somewhere else. As soon as we digitized telecommunications, all those people, you will think that they've lost their jobs. But what happened? We had new call centers. We had telecommunications employ millions and millions of people. So what I'm saying to all of the people who are fearing job reduction, I'm saying, no, actually the jobs are changing. They're changing form. They're not going away. And we are likely to experience a boom. We talked today about prompt engineers, which is an amazing career where basically people don't do software development, but they know how to ask GPT the right question to write the development. That's a new job altogether. So there will be lots and more jobs such as this in the AI space.
Fantastic. And I'm glad that you're putting a comforting spin, a comforting angle to it, because a lot of people are worried about it taking jobs. So at the end of the day, you would say that artificial intelligence is going to benefit the economies that adopt it? Absolutely.
So we have to give some examples here. So we've got, say, a product now called Vision AI. We've got a solid platform of AI, but let's talk about Vision AI. So what Vision AI does currently today, I'll give an example. In the agri-space, we're improving yields for farmers. One, take a case study of one of our clients who has a chicken farm, where he was battling to actually understand the number of chicken and whether they feed finishes and when to reorder. We have used Vision AI to do stock count of the chicken. Secondly, to look at the health of the chicken from the camera and know exactly the type of disease and the prescription and diagnosis of that. Same thing happens in plantations, where we actually put sensors in the ground, underground, to check the moisture of the soil to know if there's a need for more irrigation or less irrigation. And all of this is automated to irrigate depending on the moisture underground, and also to look at the leaves of the plants and to determine if there's a disease and to find a solution before the yields actually end up being reduced because of just poor management. Because when it's human nature in a big, large space, you do have those errors. That's just one application in the agri space, right? Now, you can move to other areas like retail. Retails, what we've now done with Vision AI is do the stock count in the shop ensure there's no theft, create boundary lines, virtual boundary lines, and alarms to when someone else crosses, someone who's not required to cross a virtual line, because there's a facial recognition using artificial intelligence. All of these things, and how to fill your floor with the right stock that is moving, and also whether your product in the fridge is at the right temperature or not. All of this is being done by Vision AI. So what it does, if you are a retailer, you'll reduce wastage in the fridges, because we can check temperature and we keep the temperature between the boundaries that you set, and we alarm the clients when the temperature drops. And this is not only in the store, it's also with products from the trucks to the store. So that already preserves the product. And then secondly, it makes sure that you don't have leakage in terms of theft. So all of these things are benefits, some of the benefits, and it's just a little bit of the benefits. AI is going to go beyond. I'm looking forward to telemedicines in the villages. We don't have yet a case study in Inq, but we have the technology to basically administer telemedicine in the villages using AI to diagnose diseases of the people who cannot access hospitals, for us who are sitting in the cities, but those in the hinterlands. As long as they've got connectivity, diagnosis can happen, and dispensation of medication can happen for them.
I'm spellbound now. I mean, this is just, you see, when we have guests like yourself that actually break these things down in a practical manner and explain how they are applied, we're sold, right? Because you've done agriculture, you've talked retail, and then you've talked healthcare. But Inq, you're primarily with private sector folks, right? With all these, what you've talked about, they could help governments immensely. But is your focus private sector as far as your clients?
We are across sectors, but let me talk about public sector. I always say with every country that we open, I say that we will not be legitimate if we're not serving government, because government is in the business of serving our community. So we are in a community. So if we're not serving government, we're not serving our community. Every single one of our governments, we serve community. I've got a case study from Inq where we're helping government connect all the schools specifically in the villages. And remember, the metros, the cities are generally okay. The challenge in Africa is because we've got a very large landscapes, and there's a lot of our population sitting outside of the cities. We've got a case study now where we're helping government connect schools with technology. And then NGOs have provided some devices, be it a phone or an iPad. This is changing education in our continent, because the vision that we have as Inq is that a child will start. We will not be teaching these children software development when they come to Inq. We'll be teaching them at primary school software development and robotics, and the only way to do it is that the schools are connected to internet.
Fantastic. And are you seeing enough? I have to ask you about female education on the other side. Are you seeing enough women in the tech space in the African continent?
Look, we are seeing an introduction of females, but it's far from enough. And if you are a young lady listening to this, I can tell you now that tech needs more and more ladies, and women bring a very special ingredients. We in Inq believe in diversity, because we think in diversity our ideas are more complete and our ideas are different and unique. We call ourselves inquisitive, because we have inquisitive minds, and inquisitive minds come from a diversity of people, not only the diversity of gender, which is very important, but a diversity of tribes and color and creed and religion.
Great stuff. Microsoft is going to be announcing its results after the bell. The foreign competition, poaching your talent. How are you gonna see that playing out?
Yeah, so the war on talent is happening as we speak. We actually have been talking about losing some of our few key AI resources in Cameroon and some in Zambia. We've lost them to companies that I don't want to mention, because they're also my partners.
Yeah.
But some of the loss is happening actually not with migration. We're seeing the migration part, but the new trend that we are seeing is they working while in the continent, working for overseas companies. So this is a real war on talent. However, here's our solution. You will see that Inq is going to be running a hackathon throughout all these universities in the continent in a competition for innovation. And what we are doing is basically we are creating pipeline for employment. So as the teams compete, there will be winners in every country, and then we'll do an African competition, and there will be one winner. And the one winner, that team that wins, will all come to Inq Group. And then the ones that wins in the countries will be employed within our company. So we are actively creating a pipeline of key skills. But my view has always been that the pipeline is not for Inq. Is for the ecosystem, because right now we are moving resources from one company to the other. But what we need to be doing is flooding the industry with young talent. Because the truth is, Africa is going to have the highest number of youth by 2050. And we should be the ones exporting digital skills to the world.
Fascinating conversation. The company is in good hands with you as the Group CEO. Great informative stuff. Glad Dibesto, Group CEO, Inc. Thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate your time. That's good.